What's up, everyone? It is Diecastbuffet here again. Today we have the RCR Reveal Goodwrench Monte Carlo, or the Dale Sr. Reveal car. This is part of the Advent Calendar line set in 2025, and kind of a nice surprise. You know, you think about all the diecasts they could put on there. They put a late 80s diecast. That's pretty cool. Anyways, let's take a closer look at it, and I'll get the rotating base out of the studio. Alright folks, here we go with today's diecast review. So, I've actually done a review on this car. It was in the Gold Series. That's where this diecast originally came out in. And anyways, I did a diecast review on it. It's actually a really cool piece. So if you didn't get in the Advent Calendar set, you can get it through the Gold Series. From my understanding, it's virtually the same. Even the interior color is the same. You know, with the Authentics, they might have some variations. Unfortunately, this one has one of the most gnarliest decal errors I have seen recently. If you wanted like a raced version one, this is, you know, that kind of looks cool. You know, now that I mention it, it actually does kind of look like a raced version, you know. Maybe I'm the only dork that could find that in a decal error. But anyways, so this is based on the RCR Reveal. You know, the mid-'80s. It was the Wrangler blue and yellow car, super iconic. And then in the late 1980s, they would reveal the Goodwrench black car. And it originally debuted with chrome numbers that would eventually transition to white numbers. They kept the chrome, or not chrome, it's silver, not chrome, the silver bottom to the car, which would stay around for many years. And it's such an awesome paint scheme. It's really one of the most simplest paint schemes in NASCAR history, but it just works, right? The red interiors is a nice touch. If you're curious about the logistics of this particular diecast, I believe this is the same casting they actually used in the 1990s with the Winter Circle line. They would, you know, they would make like classic cars, which is kind of funny to say. You know, it'd be like the year 1998, and they'll say, "Oh, here's a classic diecast from, the 1988 season for Rusty Wallace or Dale, Earnhardt, or Jeff Gordon in 92 or 93." I'm like, this happened 10 years ago. Are we already calling them classics? Nowadays, I can understand, but it does kind of remind me when they made that 2013 Jeff Gordon one. It was an alternate paint scheme that never got offered. They made it in like 2022 or something. Anyways, they put it in the NASCAR Classics box. So apparently, the Gen 6 2013 season is already considered classic, which I always found that interesting. Anyways, this is a really cool diecast mold. It's actually very thin. The metal on it is actually very thin compared to most castings, so it's kind of a lightweight feel to it, but it doesn't feel cheap is what I'm trying to say. It's lightweight, but it feels strong at the same time. The bottom to it, the only difference is there's supposed to be a gap where you have the drive shaft, you have the transmission here. On the original casting, sometimes they would actually have a hole. I don't know why they would not just be one sheet of plastic, but I think that might be one subtle change. But everything else is the original casting from Action's Winter Circle line in the 90s. Got GM Goodwrench right there on the hood of the diecast. A few hairs and whatnot. That's all good. You got the red bow tie. I would love to see the hood ornament bow tie logo back on the Chevy Cup cars. I mean, Ford does it. Toyota does it. I would really like to see Chevy do it. I get it, they put it on like the headlight trim or whatever it is, the Camaro headlight piece, but man, there's just something so cool about that. Literally, like every Chevy stock car had that. The COTs pretty much had that. Or the 2013 one, they didn't, unfortunately. They should have, but Let's get the number 3 right there on the left side. You have the faux headlights. What's interesting is this is before headlight decals were really a thing. So I don't know if these are actually grill openings on the front, because you can look, there's kind of a mesh. So my theory is that they might have just been a hole on the car and they would put a mesh grill there, and that would lead to maybe a brake hose or something, just to cool something on the front of the car potentially. But I digress on that. There's a lot of different ingenuity things they probably did on these cars that weren't, really known. You have a very detailed front end, like it legit looks just like a mid-'80s G-body style, two-door, GM vehicle. It looks really, really sharp. some of those diecast molds from the 1990s, I don't want to be that guy, but they need to leave them back there. A lot of those 1990s diecast molds, they're very cartoonish, so to speak. Like you got giant diecast wheels. The cars are like squunched up. The roof is too short, or the roof is like giant. It's just I'm cool with it being like a fantasy cartoon version, but when you're trying to make something that looks realistic, not all those diecast molds they need to return. This is one of them that was one of the best that they made in the 1990s, and I'm so glad they still are using it. And lately, Lionel Action, they've been making a lot of these remakes of the 1990s classic stuff, and I think that's really freaking cool. It kind of reminds me around 2011, 2012 when they made a lot of classics ones. We just saw the Terry Labonte truck. That one got that one was one of the most random diecast releases ever. Well, they used a 1995 action casting to make the Labonte truck Richmond win. I know the whole side panel was jacked up. Let's just keep it a buck. But we're going to keep on. But it does look like a raced version. I'm not going to lie. So anyways, they've been using a lot of these retro castings and bringing them back, which is really freaking cool. Of course, you had the Tim Richmond win. There's a lot of 124 exclusive ones they're making. Hello, I'm a 164 guy too. I'd love to see like a Kyle Petty, what was it, Richmond, like 1986 raced win in 164. Like that would be dope. How about like some Mark Martin ones? That'd be dope. So anyways, back to the car. Enough of me rambling. I apologize. You have the retro Goodyear Eagles. I don't know if these are accurate to the actual year. I don't know. I'm going to assume they are. The wheels, though, I'm going to keep it a buck with you. I think they are inaccurate. For whatever reason, they sprayed them with this very concrete-like color. They used this color on the Penske cars. I mean, I'm just going to keep it a buck. I've used this analogy a lot here on the channel. This is how chrome wheels are supposed to look. This is the end of an X-Acto knife, but basically it's like a brushed aluminum kind of color to it. Not concrete. So I'm just going to keep it a buck. I think those might be mistaken. I don't know how many races, if any, Earnhardt ran with chrome wheels, but I think during the reveal they had chrome wheels on the car. I could be tripping on that. Got the number 3 right there. Wrangler jeans. Got good wrench. Again, the whole side panel. I guess it's from like Richmond or something, and he got into, I don't know, Jeff Bodine or Darrell Waltrip. Who knows? He had a lot of different drivers who he had some run-ins with. Got Goodyear there. Unical 76 NASCAR Cup Series, NASCAR race car, goodies, Holly Simpson, Edelbrock Moroso, Bliston, and you got True Value. With the back panel of the diecast here, and again, if you love really detailed diecast molds, I'm telling you, man, the late 80s Monte Carlo is incredible. You can actually see the grooves in the bumper. I love that, man. And the stories about some of these cars, yes, I know the back window needs to be pushed up a little bit. Actually, I think what happened with this, I'll finish what I was about to say in a moment, is the way they installed the rivets on these cars, I think they used like an air impact, like a factory, they had like a assembly line, right? It has all these different like robot arms and whatnot, and they just press the little rivets into the cars. Anyways, I think sometimes the rivets are almost like an air impact, or they hydraulically like boom, right? Like they impact into the car really fast. And what happens is it actually, the area where they're putting the rivet for the roof, it actually bends the metal. So that's why I've noticed this even on 2000s era produced cars. This area right here on the hood, there's a rivet where the dashboard goes. It goes right there. And what happens is that the tool, or whatever the assembly line procedure, the impact, boom, it just like jabs the car. And what does it do? It bends this area of the metal. Keep in mind, it is extremely difficult to bend die-cast metal. Like in little areas, it has to be a very gnarly amount of pressure to bend die-cast metal. Like you can bend the roof easily, but like areas like this, that's a lot of pressure. That has to be like a hydraulic impact type deal. Anyways, what happens is it actually bends the whole metal, and inevitably it makes it so it ain't gonna line up with the windows. So So that's why sometimes you'll have a Gen 4 car and it'll have a really weird bump right here on the hood of the car. It's because of the rivet, or you even see it on the roof of the car. This does still happen nowadays as well. I've noticed it on Gen 6 cars. So that explains why that's probably not lined up. What I was trying to say is that the ingenuity of these, this was known as an aero coupe. It's a G body style, production car, but it's basically an aero coupe, and it's amazing the things they would do with, like, they would get goofy with the wheelbases, right? They might make the car shorter or longer depending on the racetrack. They would try to make the back glass of the car as close as they could to the spoiler, so that when the air goes over the car, it just goes over the spoiler. It reduces drag. They would make the cars shorter or longer as well. They would try some goofy stuff, man. They would try some goofy stuff. And back then, I mean, it wasn't really like regulated like nowadays, the tech centers and stuff. So, I mean, there's no telling how many thousands of like NASCAR ingenuity stories that never be told. Like, let's just keep it a buck, there's so many little quirky things that were just probably an everyday thing for some of the race teams, and it's just fascinating, the history of the sport and where everything would shift. I mean, they would try everything with the stock cars. Up till pretty much the COT, I mean, they still had a crap load of ingenuity during the Gen 5 era, but like that 2007 season when they started putting the COT in, that's when they kind of put they put wooden boards around the sandbox, so to speak. Top of the car here, you have the number 3 right there. So again, I already did a diecast review on this one, the Gold Series. This one looks verbatim the same. Obviously, the one of the Gold Series didn't have all the defects, but you know what I'm trying to say. It's a fantastic diecast. It is one from the Advent calendar line in 2025, so it is a duplicate, if you will. You could get it separately. But I tell you what, out of all the diecasts they could have put in the Advent calendar line, they chose 2 really good ones that are duplicate. This one, and probably one of the sleeper paint schemes of 2025, the Chase Elliott Universe car. So if you're going to put a car or 2 in the diecast set, right, the Advent calendar set, put 1 or 2 that is a really good choice. And I think these are both really good choices. And again, the 2025 Advent calendar set, even if these were included, I still think it's worth it because the exclusive diecasts are absolutely amazing. I still see comments talking about the Advent calendar set, and they're like, "Wow, this set was really freaking good. I love the this driver paint scheme or this diecast." So these are kind of a bonus, if you will, if you really look at it from a 30,000-foot perspective. So if you want to check out all the diecasts from that diecast set, I mean, they have Xfinity diecast, you got Cup Series diecast, all kinds of good stuff. Did a full video on the unboxing of it. You can check it out. Thank you all for watching the video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Have a blessed one. And you can pick up that diecast set with that promo code if it's still in stock at Circle B Diecast. Use code Diecastbuffet. Help you with shipping. Don't have to use it. Thank you all for watching the video. Have a blessed one. DB signing off.